We've got James, he, him in the UK is a theist and wants to talk about how being religious is better for mental health than being atheist. So, hey, James, you're talking with Armin and SR. What's up?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I just called in because I started the show listening to you talk to the lady from Kenya, and Armin mentioned the sort of how religious people can mistreat mental illness and say that it's like exorcism or that sort of thing. And so I put in the chat, okay, but religious people do have mental health better sort of mental health on average than atheists. And the live stream chat didn't really believe me. So
where are you getting that from?
Armin probably would believe me. Sorry?
Yeah, where are you getting that from? Like, how did you get to that conclusion? Like, let's just again, we'll play this game with you. Armin and I'll just grant that's the case for a second. Where'd you get that information?
This is a standard correlation causation problem here, which I actually went and looked, and this is definitely one of those cases. But go ahead.
I assumed.
I
have a couple of studies in mind I think you might mention, but James, where do you get the conclusion that religious folks have better mental health than non-religious folks?
No, I mean, let's grant that they do. What do you think that? Why do you think that's because of religion?
That's fair. That's a better question. Answer that, James.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad that Armin's sort of granting this, because some people in the audience were sort of denying it. But so Armin, I think, is sort of agreeing that there are some studies, but thinks that it might be due to other reasons. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, well, I could read what I found for you. Do you want me to read that? Because there's actually a very, very good analysis of all the research that is available on Psychology Today by a psychology research analyst that has just evaluated all of the data that we have. And what he is saying is that just like religious individuals benefit from affiliating with religious groups, atheists who participate in like-minded groups experience greater well-being. It's not the religious belief per se, but rather the community and social support that seems to have a positive impact on individuals' mental health. So that's one point. Another point is having strong convictions, whether religious or non-religious, that guide one's philosophy of life appears to be beneficial for mental health. People who regard religion as either very important or not important at all reported greater happiness compared to those for whom religion was moderately important. This suggests that having a well-defined worldview, religious or non-religious, is likely to be associated with better mental health. Another point, there's a lot of points like this, but I'm just picking some for you to keep in mind.
That's a very interesting point.
Yeah, and another one, it says studies on the benefits of religion have largely focused on religious activity and attendance rather than privately held belief in God. Attendance at religious services tends to be beneficial, but these benefits are often more pronounced for individuals belonging to religious traditions where attendance is considered very important. So it's not necessarily the belief that is causing the mental health. It's basically the attendance, in having a strong worldview, in feeling, also not feeling isolated, feeling included. A lot of mental health associated with being an atheist is because you don't have that community. You feel demonized or ostracized in your community, which if that wasn't there, then a lot of these mental conditions will go away. So yeah, so strong convictions, community and social support, and having attending events that is associated with. If we have, and here's the problem with religion, because I do accept that a lot of the things that religion comes with religion has a positive effect on mental health.
Sure.
But the problem with giving religion credit for that is that we could do better. We could have attending in events without using religion. We could have worldviews that are even healthier and make more sense, and we could have strong convictions in it. For example, I have a strong conviction in the importance of secularism, liberalism, human rights, many other things that I think I have a strong conviction in their importance of, and that gives me meaning and purpose. A lot of people could do that without having any religious belief, finding ways of having a community. So here at the ACA, for example, we see a lot of community building. We're seeing a lot of atheists, and you don't even need just an atheist organization to do community building, even though they do, and they do a lot of good work with that. But atheists can find community in chess clubs, in running clubs. They could in TV shows. There are many different activities, and it's a healthier way. So all the benefits that religion has when it comes to giving you a better mental health, you could find an alternative, more clean, less destructive, and less toxic way of doing that outside of the religion. The problem with religion is not that the benefit that you get from the social support or the events that you attend. That's not the problem. The problem is that it provides that service that is needed, but it comes with a lot of baggage. It comes with a lot of destructive baggage. We as a society can do better.
Sorry?
What?
Say again?
Okay, sorry. Lots of interesting points there. Since you went on for a while, can I have a little while to respond?
Yeah, we'll give
go ahead.
you a full minute, James. We got a timer on here, and probably by the time I'm done talking, it'll be up because the crew's amazing. So you can go ahead, man.
Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah. So I'm glad, Armin, that you sort of admitted in around the middle there that, on average, religious people do have a better mental health than on average atheist people, taken on aggregate, not looking at breaking down by different factors. Now, obviously, if you look at things on aggregate, like a difference in the average between two groups could be for multiple reasons. I accept that. And probably socializing probably accounts for some of that difference. However, I don't think that that's a win for you guys, because that would still kind of lead us to suggest that, atheist people, if you become atheist, then you become somehow less good at socializing, or somehow your average socializing ability or opportunities for socializing decreases. So that's kind of a negative thing. Secondly, so you went on for quite a long time, and I might forget where I'm going. But there's another point. Like you mentioned how one of the reasons for this.
Let me just respond to that very quickly. Because you didn't understand what I'm saying. Let me tell you like this, okay? It's probably better for your mental health for you to be a Nazi if you live under Nazi Germany. Okay, so it's probably better for your mental health if you were a Nazi.
Never thought about
when
that.
Germany was Nazi and you're living in Germany.
Yeah, maybe.
Sure.
Okay, so is that a win for Nazism?
Anything else?
No, I'm asking you, is that a win for Nazism?
Well, obviously there's other things to consider, right? But if we're only considering mental health, then it's a win in the degree of mental health.
But is it?
If you want to take that win, you could have that win.
Yeah, okay? but is it a win? Is in part my question, right? Like
the solution would not to give in to that. The solution would be to change society where you don't need to do that for you to have better mental health.
Right.
So here's another thing. It's probably when you have homophobia in society, okay, it's probably better for your mental health not to be gay. Okay. So what is the problem? Is the problem being gay, or is the problem the society?
I'm gonna say number 2, Alex. I think it's door
I
number 2.
don't think that question is analogous, and let me explain why. Because even within the parts of America that are sort of dominated by a secular humanist ideology, like, for example, the cities of California, they have such high rates of
California, James?
like not low religiousness, basically.
James, who do you know in California?
I think you'd agree with that.
How many people have you talked to in California, James? How many people have you talked to in the cities in California? Because I can tell you, I can 100% tell you, there is absolutely in LA. There is absolutely a religious mindset. Okay. For instance, you can go listen to Theoretical Bullshit, Scott Clifton. Wonderful, wonderful dude. Been putting out a lot of stuff for a long time. He has for a very long time been an open atheist and an actor on a handful of different soap operas. And he can 100% tell you how in the heart of the heathenous, blasphemous, godless-filled community that is Hollywood and Los Angeles, yeah, you better shut the hell up about your non-Jesus loving ass. So again, I think that characterization is already problematic, right? Because you were going to say, even in those places that are like super duper secular and non-religious, the religious people are doing better mentally wise. And again, like I would just argue that that's not really the situation that's going on. And so we're more still in the boat that Armin was talking about, where like the society, the general background noise for society is like, we love Jesus. We love Jesus. So yeah, in a society where people are doing that all the time, that doesn't seem particularly good or special that those people, you know, who agree with that would be doing better. Do you see where I'm going with that pushback at least?
I see your perspective, but I think you're factually incorrect. Please, can I just read out a quick statistic to get some clarity here? So
go ahead.
In pewresearch.org, the adults in the Los Angeles metro area, 25%, 1 in 4 of them are unaffiliated, either atheist, agnostic, or nothing in particular. Okay? So this is a large minority, right?
Nope, that's literally the same case in Tennessee, my brother. That's the same case in deep fucking South over here in the U.S. Yes, sir. 25% of Tennesseans, 25% of Georgians, 25% of Mississippians. I keep going. I name the whole damn Bible Belt for you if you need it. But that statistic is pretty standard across the whole country and like the world at this point. I think worldwide it might be a little bit higher just because so many Iranians are stepping away, which woo. But yeah, that's not uncommon. That's the same numbers across the board.
Going back to the main topic, even if we give what you want, okay? So the point is that we can show based on a deep analysis of the study that the positive effect is not because of the belief. Okay, the positive effect is because of attendance, is because of community, is because of having convictions, a worldview that makes sense to you and gives you meaning. So if we had to choose, you're like, oh, okay, but it's still in whatever way, it's giving you some mental health benefits. But you have a choice. You can see that we can have that. As an atheist, we could build communities. We could have worldviews that gives us meaning. We could attend in many different events, and we could get all those mental health from with a non-religious way. Or we could decide to, for the benefits of the mental health of those events that churches and mosques have, or that community has, we could accept an ideology that is anti-woman, that is anti-LGBT, that is pro-slavery, that promotes violence, that is anti-science. So, I mean, given that I could see that the religion, whatever mental health you're getting out of religion can be done without the religion, I'll choose the option of doing all of that without the religion, because the religion is toxic.
Armin, I think that what you're saying doesn't quite tackle it, because the track records of the sort of progressive secular humanists in trying to boost the religiosity, the mental health of their followers through these attempts at community and socializing and what have you, and worldview building, your outcomes, your track record hasn't been good, and the evidence of that.
Give us one example.
No, that's not true.
Hang on, Armin. Hang on. Yeah. Give us one example, James. Give us one example of what you're talking about that demonstrates that. Yeah, so give us one example, because I want to see how this is tied back to secular. Go ahead.
Yes, cool. So Eric Kaufman, he's a political scientist. He posted these poll results showing that very liberal millennials, age 18 to 29, had over twice the rate of mental health diagnoses mental illness diagnoses, I should say, than conservatives or moderates in the same age bracket.
You don't understand what's being asked here.
Yeah, right.
You don't understand what's being asked here.
I just think that we've circled all the way back around to what Armin's objection was from the beginning. And like, I think there's so many problems with that. Like, is there anything else that you could point to other than a study like this, which has its issues with causation and correlation?
Do you understand the difference between correlation and causation?
You can cut me off. I can explain why this is relevant. Let me explain why this is relevant, okay? So, the very liberal people, right? These are people who have adopted a progressive worldview, by and large, on average, right? These are people who kind of, oh, come on. It's going to be so correlated. It's an indicator.
Is it, though? I mean, is it, though? That's the question. And the answer is, when we actually...
Let me tell you what's happening.
It is black and white as this, James, and you just want to underline with a big red marker these things over here. And what Armin is trying to point out is there's a lot of different factors, and if you just ignore all those other things, then yeah, man, sure, what you're saying is true. But like what you just said right there isn't true. Like, if you're liberal, you're more likely to be secular. Like, not necessarily, dude. Like, not necessarily. Right. And we would need hardcore, robust data showing not a correlation, which is what we've been looking at, but truly the cause of it. But hang on. I know we're getting close to the end of the show. Armin, say your final piece, and then James, we'll let you end us out with your thoughts, okay?
Right. So, James, the real world is multifactorial. Right, so you are it's not as simple as you are trying to make it seem like it is. The world doesn't work like that. Just because you find a correlation, that doesn't mean that you have identified the cause. In fact, if you look at the people who do a deep dive into these studies, most of the mental health problems that atheists or liberal people face could actually, if you actually go and do a deep dive into causation, it's the religious people in that community that are causing the anxiety and the mental health problems. So the source of the problem of any mental health issues that liberals or atheists or secularists are having, you could actually see that with religious minorities where they live in a different environment. So you could find the same level of anxiety on Christians maybe in an Islamic country. So the issue is not the atheism. The issue is not the liberalism. The issue is how that society decides to treat those liberals or those atheists, because you don't see the same problem in countries where that level of demonization or ostracization doesn't exist. You could see better atheists having better mental health in maybe Scandinavian country, for example, right? Like when there's a lot of conflict, when there's a lot of demonization, of course you're going to expect. It's the same thing, but based on the way that you are rationalizing this, you have to claim that being LGBT is bad for your mental health inherently. But you could see that a lot of the mental health issues that LGBT people face goes away when being a member of that community becomes normalized. We had the same issue with people who are left-handed. Do you think being left-handed was not bad for your mental health? It used to be very bad for your mental health because, it was looked down upon. Now there is no correlation between being left-handed and having mental health issues because it's not seen as any bad anymore. So if you are showing us any correlation, it just doesn't work that simple. If you're looking at these studies, if you're looking at numbers, this is why analyzing raw numbers for people that don't have experience in research is really dangerous, because you think that you could analyze as soon as you see a correlation. And this is very basic. The fact that when you see a correlation, you cannot just assume causation, that's just like research 101. This is why instead of looking at the raw data and coming up with your own conclusion, go look at how other people who are in the field are analyzing that data and what conclusions they're coming from, instead of relying on your own analysis of the data. Because as soon as I checked within 2 minutes, I managed to come up with a deep dive into all of this data, and the experts are arguing that atheism is not the cause here, and religion, the belief in the religion itself, is not necessarily the cause here, because they see the same similar effect from religion if atheists are doing the same types of activities, or finding that having the same kind of worldviews that is giving them meaning. So, but when researchers do a deep dive and try to isolate all these factors, they see that there is nothing that you get out of the belief. So why do you think we should give in to all this religious nonsense when it's not helping us anyways? Does that make sense?
Okay, so I'll just quickly. I understand what you said. I think that what you said isn't satisfactory, and the reason is because one of the main accusations is that while you see the same kind of results when religious minorities in, say, kind of Egypt, like or Pakistan, get bullied by Muslims or something along those lines, but the fact is that even within kind of communities where this progressive, liberal, broadly secular ideology is dominant, like, say, kind of Berkeley in California, in San Francisco, California area, and even there, those kind of irreligious people have worse mental health. So that isn't a satisfactory explanation.
Have you shown me the study that shows it's because of their irreligion? You still don't understand the difference between correlation and causation?
Yeah, and James,
you have a very simplified view of the world.
James, unfortunately, we're just at the end of the show, man. I thought this was I thought you were a good interlocutor. I hope you do call us back. And not even just us. Like, please call just any time. There are a bunch of wonderful people here on this show that want to have this discussion. And again, I thought you were cordial, and I thought, we at least could have a back and forth. So I'm always a big fan of those conversations. Please call us back. But unfortunately, we are at the end of the show. So we are going to let you go, James. But